Hello! Can you see
Oh,
me?
yes, I can.
Hello, Dan.
Hi.
How are you? Lovely to see you, meet you.
Yes.
Both, both.
Yes.
How's your day going so far? Are you well?
Fine. Yes, it's another sort of like a semi-productive day. So it's
It's better than nothing, though. You're right. Like it's,
yes,
it's still.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's amazing.
These
Uh,
cold winter months.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm saying that as I'm sitting here barefooted. The heating's not on, but I'm still barefooted. I've not had time to put my socks on, Dan. I'm so sorry. I'm
Oh, lovely.
so unprepared for you. I'm very
Marvelous.
sorry. So thank you so much for coming on today. So just to make you fully aware, I am obviously chatting to you, and I'm joined by my Twitch community who are fans of Warhammer 40K Darktide,
All right.
other things as well. So we're going to ask you questions about who you are, and basically you're going to answer them as best you can. It sounds like I'm threatening you, like interrogation. I'm going to ask you
Yeah,
some
you will
questions,
provide
Dan,
answers for us.
and you will answer them to the best of
Yes.
your.
Yes. To the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess to start things off, who are you, Dan Starkey? Who are you?
My name's Dan Starkey. I'm an actor and a voiceover artist. I've been a professional actor for just under 20 years. I also do improvisation as well
Fantastic.
on stage, and yeah, I've done lots of radio formerly and voice work, and so like now I've just started to do voices in gaming as well. Yeah,
Yes.
that's such a big growth industry in the UK, so it's very useful.
That's fantastic. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
speaking of gaming, like obviously, that's how I come. Oh, I say how I come to know you. How
Hmm.
I came to be in closer proximity to your name.
Yes.
Because obviously Warhammer Darktide
Hmm.
because before obviously a big say one of the well if I personally can say this one of the most well known things you've done is Doctor Who. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
as Strax the Sontaran who you know, personally a fan of. So this is kind of, it's
You
like
have commendable taste, human scum.
it's just so good.
Yes.
So you've not lost the voice down. You've
Oh
not lost
no.
the voice at all.
I do have
That's
a slight cough at the moment though, so
oh, don't worry. I think about this. I think about this.
deploy it sparingly. Yeah.
I think I've had a slight cough for about
Yes.
2 months now. I don't know
Yes.
what's
Very
going on.
irritating. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're doing voices. Yeah, I can sing.
Yeah. Yes.
So what people are gonna do? They're gonna ask questions, and I've got the lovely Connie who's feeding through to me
Right.
questions as well. So I'll introduce you and stuff like that. But anything I can prepare before we start, Dan? Are you all good to go? Just want to make sure you
Yeah.
feel
Just
comfortable.
dive in. I think that's the
Okay.
easiest thing to do. Yes. Yeah.
Okay then. Well, one of the first ones we've got is what was your influences for becoming an actor in whenever you started your career?
Oh
What
gosh.
got you?
I mean,
What
I just
going for
yeah.
big stuff straight away? You know.
Yeah. Sure. No, I just did plays at school and then at university. And then and I found out that I was taking it a bit more seriously than so like all my friends at school, and I found out that I was quite good at it. But then even then, it's like it took me a little while to actually sort of make the leap and actually go to drama school. So I had a bit of a break in between university and drama school. So I actually went and trained professionally when I was a little bit older, so like when I
Fantastic.
was about 27. Where I think I got more out of it then than I would have done because I was still doing bits and stuff, a little stuff on the fringe and sort of little bits and pieces. And also I had a year's worth. I did a year's worth of improvisation classes, so evening classes
Amazing.
before I went to drama school proper,
Yeah.
and I think that absolutely set me up because it's still because I went to Bristol Vic, which was great, but it's like quite formal in its
Yeah.
like in its structure, and so very sort of it really sort of drilled you, so it was very sort of
Right.
quite a boot camp kind of thing. But I think I still retained the ability to play as a result of having all that kind of like that bedrock of improv as well,
Yeah. That's
which was kind of quite useful.
because improv, like I hear a lot of actors talk about how it's really an important skill to kind of develop. Like it's
Yeah, it's a mindset as much as anything
yeah.
else, and it's kind of and it's a bit about being open to things and sort of and I think it applies to lots of. I would say it's slightly parallel to acting, so like
Yeah.
it's not quite the same thing, but it's a very useful sort of like a bag of tools to bring out,
No,
like
absolutely
in much
agree.
more formal sort of acting context. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much
Mm.
for sharing that. Yeah, I
Mm.
am like because I've done like I don't know if you yourself like do like crowd work, like crowd waller or whatever it is for
Oh yes, yeah,
TV
yeah,
and stuff, and
yeah,
like most of that is
yes,
improvised. It's here's a
yes,
scenario. You're outside of a club. What you're
yeah,
doing outside the club is completely up to you. And then you
yes,
just end up riffing into the strangest things, you know. So
Yes, well, the big thing was also because quite soon after I left drama school, so there's a competition, so like called the Carlton Hobbs Bursary, which is open final drama school students. You'll get put in a team, and then you sort of compete along with all the other sort of like recent sort of there's graduating sort of students
yeah.
for a contract with the BBC Radio Drama Company with the BBC
Oh
Radio.
wow.
And so I got runners up in that. I didn't actually win it, but it meant I was on their radar. So that about 18 months after I left, I actually got employed by them proper for it was a 3-month rolling contract. So I did 9 months altogether.
Brilliant.
And that's where you're in the BBC every single day doing something different, but basically being in radio plays, doing readings, doing loads of random stuff.
That's fantastic.
But
isn't
lots
it?
of that is kind of the radio rep are effectively free from budgeting point of view for the radio producers, at least they were then. And so you'd be in there, right, okay, so come in at 4 o'clock to Maida Vale 6, and go Roman orgy, bang. Or to get you the street scene, go. Yeah, so a First World War trench, boom. Those things where you're going, you've just got to run with it. And so hysteria when it gets you. But it's a great thing of learning on the job and being it becoming second nature.
I completely agree. Like it's you've got, because I do teaching on weekends with like kids from the ages of 6 to like 18, and improv's a big thing. I'm really trying to like implement into like there, because usually something goes wrong, they'll freeze up on stage and be like,
yes,
and it's like it's all about yes and continuing it. So no,
yes,
it's amazing to hear, because obviously like getting to know you, I didn't know you had such a big background in improv, so that's really quite impressive to know.
It's something that I always find I go away from it for a couple of years and I come back to it and go, oh yeah, it's a good way to recharge your batteries. And I think it's also that thing of learning to listen to people productively as well, because so much of the time people are on transmit in life as well as on stage or on screen or whatever. It's kind of like, and so such a fundamental thing is actually sort of being able to listen and being open to being changed by what you hear. So you might have gone, especially with an audition, you might have gone in and planned it all in your head.
Oh, always, Dan, always.
But then sometimes someone will throw something at you and you'll have to sort of go on a completely different track. So it's do your homework and then throw it out the window. So
it's so true. The amount of auditions I've gone, right, no, the lines know what the character is, and like, so we want to do this accent in this way, like, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So this next question, Dan, is from Connie, who's from Texas in the United States.
Oh wow. Okay.
And they've asked so they've got a few questions, but this is did you audition for Warhammer Darktide, or were you sought out for the role in particular?
I know I got a casting through from my excellent voice agents, Just Voices, and it was a whole sheet with a lot of different characters on there.
Yeah.
And so it was quite a useful thing, I think, because often they might do this thing for a new game, for a project. Yeah. So they've also got code name. I was like, I don't know what it is.
Code name, something.
Yes, code names, all these things. But so you had a range of different characters to actually sort of read from. So and that was quite nice because you could show a whole range of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when I got the Psyker Male B, as it was referred to then,
I'm a Zealot Male C.
There we go. Yes. I hope the whole alphabet of evil. It's a whole thing of there were a variety of different sort of pointers they would give you in terms of the persona, an idea about what the character looks like, but then also things about their attitude, how they fit into the game, and also as well as dialogue to actually do. And I think it was quite a nice description that they described him initially as a Jane Austen character who'd been knocked on the head and woken up in the Warhammer 40K universe.
That's incredible.
So it was quite a different sort of it's quite a different quality that originally he had. It was much more, oh dear, sort of the vicar's son, just slightly, oh my beloved, oh dear. This kind of slightly lighter, and then of course, over the course of actually sort of once I'd sort of like got the job and I was actually in the room, then so
I completely agree. Like when I did mine, like he was like this, I am a big lord speaking to you all, and now it's just like I'm angry all the time. So it's amazing. Again, that evolved through the audition process itself. And I'm glad you said about the Jane Austen character as well, because people have asked like what was the inspiration for the Seer character. Was there more to it than that, or was that kind of come from the whole?
I mean that's specifically the kind of wording of how it was in the casting breakdown. And then when we were sort of developing it, the first session where I had my first thing, then it became quite different. So I was trying for a variety of different voices and qualities, and so the one we kind of hit on, the one that I have in my head, because it's recently been repeated on the BBC iPlayer, is I Claudius. There's John Hurt in I Claudius playing Caligula. who sort of like, it's that
Ah,
John Hurt's voice that's slightly raspy,
that's
but also is slightly insane. It's got that kind of quality to it. So that was a kind of like, oh dear uncle, you've got more hair than me, but you're older. It's that kind of
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well,
that's like hysteria sort of going in. And of course the Warhammer 40K world is it's not a happy one. So people
it's
go mad very quickly. So
it
it
depends.
pushes to extremes. So
No, speaking of Warhammer, Jutsaw from United States, he's from Boston, Massachusetts, and he's asked, "Are you a fan of 40K? Or are you familiar with 40K before you joined the project?"
well, back in 1991, my mate had a lot of issues of White Dwarf. That
Yeah, yeah, we
so
know about
yeah.
that.
So I think I remember sort of playing Dark Future a couple of times around his house, and so like having various Citadel miniatures as they were called then.
Yeah, yeah,
So like so I was aware of the Warhammer 40K, some of the
yeah.
lore, but of course then 30 odd years worth of sort of accrued lore and continuity. It's incredible just the amount of detail that you sort of go into it. So I was aware of the Eldar and all those kind of things and the sort of some aspects of it, but yeah, revisiting that is it was quite interesting and seeing it's come on some.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
developed quite a bit. Would you say, like, I know obviously like you're massively well versed, but did you have like a favorite kind of faction at the time, or were you kind of just like, oh, they're okay, they look cool,
Oh gosh, yeah.
you
Well, we had
know?
all the Space Marines. I remember then they're
Yeah,
having the big sort of banners and that sort of thing.
yeah, yeah.
And my mate was very proud of his platoon of Space Orcs.
Oh
That
yeah, good.
yes, Orcs is tough, mean and orky. Yeah, sort of So it all came flooding back.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Yes.
this.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I know you're likewise with sort of all these sort of like the Warhammer sort of like fantasy role play as well. That kind of
Yes,
that
absolutely.
came
Yeah.
yes, the whole kind of world, Toad
That's,
Slan and all that kind of thing.
oh, there's so
Realms
much
of
like
Chaos
yeah,
and so
yeah,
forth.
there's
Yeah,
like Age of Sigmar and
yeah,
Realms of Ruin and stuff. Oh, it's
yes,
so much
yeah,
to it.
yeah.
Thank you so much for answering, Dan.
Mm,
I really appreciate your time and being here as
mm,
well. There's one question for me. What's obviously because you've got like I'd say you're a seasoned actor, Dan.
mm.
What's your favorite role personally you've done? Like you hold quite, no matter how big or like small is. What stands out if you can think of that?
Oh gosh, the thing is, it's very nice having been in Doctor Who because I was such a
Yeah,
big fan when I was a kid, and it's like and
same.
also
Yeah.
it's got currency and everyone's heard of it.
Hmm.
But there are things which I'm very proud of that I've done on stage or whatever. But the
Yeah,
point about
absolutely.
theatre is it's ephemeral.
Yeah, yeah.
It's of like it doesn't last. So I mean, quite soon after I left drama, only a couple of months after I left drama school, I did a nearly one-man show at a theatre in London called the Arcola, which is quite a small sort of fringe
Okay.
theatre, and it was kind of like basically me on stage for the play was only about an hour long, and about 45 minutes of it was me by myself, and it was an
Wow.
adaptation of Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground. So it was again not cheerful, but we managed to find the humour in it
That's where you
because
where you prosper, Dan.
but yeah, oh god, yeah. It is that. I mean, and quite a lot of stuff that I've done is like dark comedy or comedy through
Yeah.
some gritted teeth. So it's kind of so yeah, but but that was quite nice. As opposed to lots of my pals who were sort of graduating at the same time, it
Yeah.
felt like I've got a chance to put all of my training into
Absolutely.
into
Yeah.
practice. Whereas lots of my pals, had to sort of like wait, for a good year or two before they actually got a chance to sort of like to do anything. So it's kind of I was very lucky in that respect.
No, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, I've done loads of things that I'm proud of. But it's kind of like without looking at my CV,
Yeah.
it's
Let me
hard
just check my
difficult
spotlight
to
real
remember.
quick.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That's great. Speaking of like roles and such, back to Doctor Who. Like, how? I mean, this is probably a dumb question. Like, how did it come about? Obviously, you auditioned for it, and but how? Like, was it a long process of like? Did you have to do like screen tests with makeup, or was it a
Oh no,
case
well,
of?
I think it was basically. I think I was really. I was jammy, in the sense of giving my then agent a prod at the right time, because
Right.
again, it was because I'd been invited to do a TV casting by a casting director who had seen me at drama school, but I wasn't able to go to it because I was doing a Shakespeare play in a forest in Ipswich, and this was before the days of self tapes. So
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go from Ipswich to London and back again in the daytime and
Of
get the show.
course not. Yeah.
So I was talking to my agent, going, "Oh, that's a shame, isn't it?" But sort of like, and we were talking about, "Oh, next month it's my birthday, and Doctor Who's my favourite program ever. So if you get me on that'd be great
Yeah.
to make up for it." And it just happened to be when they were bringing the Sontarans back, and I don't know if they'd already. I think they might have made the decision to sort of like make them sort of like smaller and more compact.
Yeah.
But in any case, I think the first guy who they sort of when they cast Chris Ryan from the Young Ones, Mike the cool person from the Young Ones,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
who was the other General Stahl in the first episode of
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they did a full body cast of him and that sort of thing, and so I think they cast around his proportions, and he's smaller than me, and he's very physically slight as well. Um, And so I think once they had that kind of suit, they had very specific parameters to fit.
Right, I see.
So I think it was, because the whole thing of being 5'2" is in my favour in that respect, because if you're sort of like 5'10", 5'11", blandly handsome, whatever, then there's an awful lot of people like that. Whereas if you're more to the extremes of being very small, very tall, whatever, other qualities, that can be helpful.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, so I think basically, so I turned up to audition for the Sontarans. Also, having been a massive fan when I was a kid, it felt like I'd done about 20 odd years of research.
I was born for this role.
Yeah, well, I can speak fluent geek, so it's all. So it was all.
You're in the right place, Dan.
Absolutely. So and the fact, I think I did 2 reads for the director and the producer and sort of and the casting director.
Yeah.
And the first one was quite straight and very much just show like an act. And then they went, "Can you make it more alien?" And then it's like, "How much further do you want me to go?" Sort of like. They like that, so that was good. And then it's a question of going to having booked the job, then it's like going to the prosthetics house and it's like having a full. They didn't do a full body cast with me, but they did a head cast where you're sort of encased in algae.
What was that like?
It's extraordinary. It's not it's like nothing you've been prepared for. But luckily, all the Millennium Effects, the prosthetics guys, are very professional, and part of their training means they have to have that done themselves. They understand what it's like for the performer inside. So you have a lot of sort of like first of all, they would put loads of Vaseline on your eyebrows, be completely clean shaven, and then you'd have like a skull cap put on because you don't want you have your ears your ears was like encased. So first of all, you saw like you look like a kind of look like a seal, and then they slap all of this kind of this heavy kind of silicon stuff on your face, and then so like eventually just leaving the nostrils free so that you can breathe, and then someone grabs your hands so you've got some contact, so you can just give them a squeeze if at any point. So
help. Help.
No help. Yeah. But then it sets and it gets it's a slight exothermic reaction, so it gets warmer as it sets, and you can feel it solidifying around you, and you're kind of like a mummy. But it's this whole thing of just breathing and just remaining calm and like going, fine, it's okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I found out I'm not claustrophobic.
I was going to say it sounds quite claustrophobic. Yeah.
Yeah, but the only time that I've had that, actually not for Doctor Who, for a different series with the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was a
of course,
yeah. I played a character in what turned out to be the final episode of that, which was a character called Plark, the Light Sculptor, and again I had the whole sort of.
You were Plark the Light Sculptor?
Yes, Plark Light Sculptor, who's like a little cyclops, so he lives inside of you.
I swear, you surprise me
yes,
more and more.
Yes, and he says like this. But with that one, because I had this kind of cyclops eye on my head, there was like a motorized chassis on top of me. And so with a remote control, with a guy, so like with a remote control, and also I was looking through the nostrils of the mask.
Right.
Unlike the Sontarans, where it's all around your eyes. You're actually inside it, and so that was a kind of weird thing. Actually, being inside something was a very different experience, and that's where I had to have a little chat to myself for about 10 minutes, just going, "You're fine, just keep calm." And that was something which I found a bit more.
Yeah, imagine like
deal with. So
it's more complex, isn't it? Like a literal machine working on your head,
and also that's what you can hear as well. So you're inside this, and so then on the first day, they had to sort of like, "Dan, that's your line." It's like I can't hear anything. I just hear and then they sort of gave me an earpiece so that I could hear everybody else's dialogue. So it's with all those whenever you're on set, it's always problem solving.
Yeah.
Sort of day on, because it's a hugely sort of practical thing with loads of moving parts, but sort of it was interesting seeing them. Oh, okay, we could do that and we could do that, and it's like and I'm in here and I can tell you what I want. So it's
I'm in control here.
Yeah, but it's an interesting process.
No, I agree. And speaking, are you watching the new Doctor Who's currently on TV?
Oh yes.
Have you seen about the behind the scenes for Beep the Meep in the first?
Yeah.
Special?
Oh yes.
It was very similar to what you were describing. The actress inside of it, she was like in the suit. Big machine on her face so she couldn't see, and she was saying how again it was quite claustrophobic in the suit. So
yes,
that's fantastic.
And there's also another chat, because another series I did for Russell was called Wizards versus Aliens, which kind of like which replaced the Sarah Jane Adventures on children's BBC.
Okay.
And I was a hobgoblin in that.
Oh, amazing!
And also we had puppets in that too. We had a whole sort of like puppet alien king, and also a little sort of puppet. And one of the guys, Brian Herring, who's the puppeteer, who has also been on Star. He's done lots of the characters in Star Wars as well. He's BB-8, but also
Oh,
he
great.
was the Meep as well, I believe. I think he did some work on the Meep too. So
Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, so there's all connections.
No, well, you know, it
Yeah.
happens. I'm impressed with how much like prosthetic work you've had done for multiple roles as well. You know, like
Yeah, for a couple of years it was kind of like it was quite a thing. So yeah, and then I came back for Jodie Whittaker's last series, and it was 7 years not having done prosthetics and sort of going, right, okay, I remember this. Oh right, and it was kind of relearning all these sorts of things. Which
has it got any better? Would you say in the 7 years from before?
well,
or...
I've got older, so I think that's the thing. That's the
Well,
thing.
yeah.
So it was that kind of thing of, oh yeah, that's yeah. So not yeah. I'm still reasonably limber, but you sort of obviously get tired more quickly.
I was gonna say about like about the process. Obviously, you come in for David Tennant's series, and you did the toxic. I can't remember what it's called, the Toxic Sky, or whatever it was, the Santaran Stratagem. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, the
episode,
Poison
yeah.
Sky.
So
Yes,
you did
yeah,
Poison Sky. Thank you.
yeah.
And then so you did those series, and then was there like a big thing in regards to you know coming to Matt's series for Strax, or was it a case of just them being like, hey, we want you back to be this Victorian
Yeah,
Santaran, you know?
Yeah, no, well, Strax was only in one episode initially, so it was kind of
Yeah, and then
no, it was just like basically they've got a rubber suit that fits me,
yeah,
so that's a big thing. They don't have to cast somebody
Yeah,
else
there
and
you
like
go.
do it full.
yeah,
So saying, but also they know that sort of like
Yeah.
you know, that I was a big fan too. So
Yeah.
but also you think I've done a reasonably good job, so
Yeah,
it's nice to be
absolutely,
invited back.
yeah.
Work begets work, as we all know.
yeah, very
Being a
true.
freelancer, but yeah, but Strax was initially only in sort of in one episode because he
was,
got killed
yeah.
off at the end of
Yeah,
Good
I was
Manga.
gonna say he gets
Yes.
yeah, he gets like
But then, of course,
stabbed,
it's
doesn't
Doctor
he?
Who, so no one stays dead for long. So, yeah.
No one
And
ever
then,
truly
of course,
dies.
we gelled as well as
Oh,
characters.
yeah.
So yeah.
That's fantastic. Right, this next question, Dan, is from
Yes.
this is from Jan Fon,
Hmm.
and so did Dan have to compete for the role of the Seer? And what was you already spoke about the casting for Darktide in terms of like what it was like, but did you know if there was any other people? Well, there's always people competing for the roles, I imagine. I guess I guess I could reword it to like, were you aware of how many people were also in the running for the role? I suppose.
No, not offhand, but
No.
it's best not to know that sort
It's
of thing.
true. It is.
It can't be of any use.
No,
or help.
no, that's
So
true. Yeah,
forget it.
25
Just do
other
your
people.
best choice and then let it go.
No, it's the thing, isn't it? Send
Yeah.
and forget. Send and
Yeah.
forget is the ultimate
Yeah.
thing. No, thank you though. I appreciate
Just
that.
give them an offer.
Yeah,
That's all you can do.
no,
Yeah.
oh, Dan, so true. This is from Cannonball. Now, Cannonball is actually one of the writers on Darktide.
Oh wow.
She wrote the language of the Nurgle cult. So
Oh, wow.
if you ever hear some weird words that are all like
Yes.
yeah, she's the one who did it. So they've asked you, what would your dream theatre role be?
Oh gosh. Oh blimey.
Big. Again, I'm hitting with the big questions today, Dan. I'm really.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't done sort of theatre as much sort of recently. Oh,
Yeah.
obviously because there was a slight thing of the pandemic, which kind of put the kibosh on things.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, one thing which I did, actually another play that I was quite proud of was a piece of new writing called Muswell Hill, and I was it's this angry loner who was sort of like, sort of like just all the way through is awkward square pegging things, and then he has this explosion in the final scene. I was like, just this is the and that was great. But so it was what was exciting about that was it was a completely new piece.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you just had a chance to sort of like create something new, and there's a play script of it published with my name in the front, and that's kind of like you're a little part of tiny part of theatre history, which is amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So which is very exciting. But so
fantastic,
something. I mean, it's just something that enables you to show all the stuff that you can do.
Yeah, no,
It's kind of
I completely agree. I mean, it's a show. It's a showcase, isn't it? Again, with me with theatre, again, like going back to what you said about how you did it at school. Fair bit. See, I did like a theatre at school in sixth form, and then when I went to university, I went for more like behind camera, like production stuff, and then like now going into teaching because it's theatre, I'm kind of getting more into kind of how that works again, and kind of thinking maybe I should attempt to pursue it a bit more. So because there is more that it offers more in different ways, like voiceover. Because voiceover is the main thing I do, but I am warming up to trying other things, So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard III would be quite fun, I reckon. An obvious Shakespearean role, that'd be fun. That'd be enjoyable.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, it's a good choice actually. So Connie has asked you, knowing the Seer, the character, what did he think of the character based on the lines you were given? And did it's a kind of a three-part question, so I'll work with a bit. So what did you think of the character when you seen the lines you had for it?
Oh, he's great. He's absolutely yes. He's not all there, is he? Which
There's a
is great fun to
few
play.
things
Yes.
loose.
Yes, he's a bit of a loose cannon, and also no one really trusts him or likes him, which is not uncommon, I think, in the Warhammer universe. But it's
He's
kind of a
okay.
he's okay,
He's
yeah. But
okay.
is it the whole thing of oh my beloved, oh dear, no, my beloved doesn't like that, do you, beloved? Yeah, it's a rapid kind of like quick fire. You think
Yeah.
actually, I'd be quite nice if I found a little kitten,
Yeah.
so like somewhere, so like he'd probably be quite nice to it, and then so like, but then he might get annoyed
Yeah.
and explode it with his mind.
Yes.
So it's kind of it's nice playing those. It's nice playing that sort of that sort of that hair trigger, so that kind of danger.
No, it worked perfectly. Like, because obviously we play the game like every Friday, and so many people use your character because they enjoy it so much. So we're getting to kind of hear almost everything. I mean, obviously we've recorded so many lines for the game,
Yes.
so many
Yeah.
screams and stuff. And it's nice when something pops through and you're like, oh, that's a new one, which is great. And carrying on with the question, like what was the most fun you had with the voice? Was it kind of like you said, the quick switching between, being like nice and then being more sinister? Was that kind of what drew you to the role the most when performing it?
Yeah, it is that sort of like those edges, and also it's like obviously as we all know with gaming, then it's like a lot of the time you're in a booth and you're screaming your head off, and
Yes.
that's a big part of it, and it sort of like contributes to the atmosphere and that sort of thing. But it's that's draining, and it's kind of like we really sort of. Yes, you've got to know what you're doing in order to sort of like make sure. But it's nice those slightly quieter moments when it's like we're going through a place and I don't quite like it, and it's also you've got an idea about what the mission is, but so like in some ways the performer is in the kind of like position of finding it out at the same time as the characters
No,
are. So
I
like,
agree. Yeah.
what's going on? I've got a vague idea of context, but I don't know what's going to happen. So just you're scared. Be
Yeah,
more
be
scared.
more
Right?
scared.
Okay, fine. That's okay. So
This
the
is
reaction
very
is,
bad.
this is a very bad thing, but I think there's all just you get an idea of the texture of the language and that sort of thing when you're in the sort of like in some of the the river gangs and all that sort of thing.
The was it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, I always forget what they're called. Was it the water? It's like the water cartel.
Yeah, the
or
water
something like
cartel. Yes,
that
that's
was
it.
it.
That's
Yeah,
it,
water
yeah.
cartel, and then
Yeah, I think that's because all the language of that is very sort of like it's murky and it's dripping and it's very sort of like this is a horrible world to actually sort of be in. But it's it's great.
I'm trying to think of more of like as well. Like you have like I don't know about yourself, but when like pronouncing fantasy. Like fantasy terms, like new things. Do you find you have to adapt to them quite a fair bit, or do you click with them quite well, like me, like Mechanicus and
Yeah, reasonably.
Materium?
I did do Latin at school, but it's occasionally they don't pronounce it like Latin should be pronounced. So it's kind of like, there you go. That's how I used to. But yeah,
This is
I'm
wrong.
used to. Yes, it's just like those technical things that to trip off the tongue sometimes, which is yeah.
You got to do your best with it.
Yes. Yeah.
But did you do? Oh, speaking of actually, while we're here, then, because I know, like I've been recording, there's the odd moment of improvisation, and obviously, like you, being, I'm going to say you're a master of improvisation, Dan, because I can. And
Yeah.
did you have much chance to do that when you were recording at OM for Darktide?
Do you know what? Not that I can think of offhand.
No.
I probably did.
There's a few.
But
I
sort
know
of
there was a
yeah.
few moments. The odd bit.
Yeah, and certainly it's like what will happen is sometimes it's more the kind of thing that sometimes a line doesn't quite sing.
Yeah.
And then you'll say something inadvertently when they go, "Oh no, that's better. That flows better." Or sometimes, but most of the time, obviously, a considerable amount of thought has gone into actually the writing, so you don't want to sort of trample on that. But so, like sometimes, if something is just the phraseology is a little bit you what, it's like okay, actually, yes, justice has been once again served. No, that's not quite. That's not quite how it should come out.
Because, like you say, it's very quick fire as well. The recording process, wasn't it? It was like one take for like nearly every line.
And I think the Mark who directs it, he does like that slightly improvisatory feel as well.
Yeah.
So, and he won't give us like a very sort of a very prescriptive note. It's more a case of just edge that, a little steer, that kind of thing, and it's more feel that I think he's going for.
No, I absolutely agree.
Which is great, yeah.
This question's from Neko, who's from Germany, and they've asked you, was there a favourite line or interaction you performed for the character who stood out? Yeah, that you remember the most. From the 10,000 plus lines you recorded.
Yes.
Think of one that you enjoyed.
Oh, sweet brute! It's all that devotion to hold something. It's the ogre. It's like, oh yes. Well, it's a whole. Everyone's obviously having absolutely swimming time until it all goes tits up. But yes, but my beloved, all the time, my beloved is whispering in the air, and then the beloved doesn't like that, and you don't want to get the wrong side of the beloved. So it's this constant relationship he's got between him and his beloved.
I love
which
the dream talk as well. Like you
yes.
go, get out of my dream.
Get out of my dream. Yes, this isn't real. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
It's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Oh, this one now is from Loud Sunrises. Loud Sunrise. I don't remember where you're from. Sorry, forgive me. But they've asked you, who is your favorite Doctor? Ooh.
Oh gosh, that is an invidious question because I've worked with virtually all of them now, either on screen or on Big Finish, the audio
Big
Doctor
Finish,
Adventures.
Of course, yeah.
For whom I've worked an awful lot. Obviously, I grew up. But my earliest memory is the very end of Tom Baker. And so Tom Baker, for some reason, is the definitive 1970s Doctor as well, and he's got such a wonderful fragrance of tone. So I was very I do John Culsher's impersonation of him. It's but I was very chuffed when I got to work with him on Big Finish, and also I wrote a script for him as well.
Oh, fantastic!
So I wrote Doctor Who's story, and he had to perform it.
Which story was that? If I may,
it was from 2017. It's called The Bad Penny.
Okay.
Fourth Doctor adventure. You can find it on the Big Finish website.
I'm going to write this down so I can look it up.
Cool, Bad Penny. It's good fun. But I've written for quite a lot of the Doctors now as well. Like recently, I wrote for the other year. I wrote for Sylvester McCoy, Bonnie Langford, and Cybermen. And it's basically this is great. I can just
that's just so.
That's
so amazing. Like I had,
yeah.
Again, from what I knew of your career, like I'm worked with David Tennant. You've worked on screen with David Tennant, Matt Smith, and Capaldi, and now Joe.
Yeah.
God, you have worked. You've worked them all.
I've done a lot of Doctor Who. That's a significant part of my output. But and also when I was I suppose on screen, the Doctor I was on with most was Matt, and so we were kind of part of the team then as well for a good sort of like season, and that was just nice being. As with lots of TV jobs, you go in there and you're there for 1 or 2 days, and everyone, even if everyone's terribly nice to you, you don't get a chance to kind of like. Sort of really sort of get your feet
exactly what you mean,
yeah. And whereas with that, it was just being part of the gang was just lovely, and also seeing Matt work as well because he was such a ball of energy as well.
When I watch Matt Smith, like he's just on it constantly, and he's in the background, he's doing his thing with his hands and he's swinging about. It's again like if I had to personally rank like my Doctor, because like my dad was a big. Massively into like classic Who, so I grew up watching it. And John Pertwee, I think, was my I say classic Doctor. I don't know if you agree with the whole separating them in between because they're all part of the same story. But I'm going to writing as well. So like in terms of like writing, how would you approach like writing? I mean, obviously you've done it a few times. How would you usually go about approaching to say writing? I say writing in general, like especially with Doctor Who as well. Like, do you start with the idea first, or do you framework it?
I mean, it's most of the stuff that actually sort of. With Big Finish, at least, I because I'm getting paid to do it, it means I finish things. So that's a crucial thing about writing.
That's true.
So many things which I've started, and it's like, and things that I've started don't see the light of day is the kind of thing because it's sort of you get so far with the script and you try and like show it to people and then it's like doesn't get picked up, doesn't get made, and it's like okay, it's decent, but sort of go back. But so with Big Finish, certainly. The actual commissioning process within Big Finish, and also because they've got to be approved by the BBC, it goes through a lot of stages, and also you're being told what kind of a slot it's going to be filling within the season, or which Doctor you're going to be doing it with. So if something's floating around, would you like to do that? Yeah, that's great. So I did a lot of the Avengers actually with Big Finish as well. Which is great. That's fantastic. The classics of 1960s series, the Avengers, not the Marvel.
Yeah, don't get confused, everyone.
And with that, it's interesting because there was a 1990s film with Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes. Very, very Fiennes. I think the whole world and his wife would have liked to have rebooted the Avengers. But it's still sort of in legal limbo as a result of that film.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a result, Big Finish were able to do adaptations of pre-existing spin-off materials.
Right.
For the Avengers. So basically comic strips.
Classic loophole.
Which is bizarre, so comic strips of stuff that was in TV comic or sort of Diana comic. So it's quite an interesting sort of writing challenge. So you get sort of like 12 pages of 1960s comic strip. Actually, I've got some on my desk here.
Oh, amazing.
So my filing system is rather rudimentary. So here we go. I've got sort of like there.
Amazing.
So basically, I've got to turn this comic strip into an hour's worth of drama that
You can do it.
and so it's something which makes narrative sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes the pictures make more sense than stuff like a, so that was a fun challenge, and also the Avengers is such a fun sort of like a fun big world where you can paint with very broad brushstrokes.
Yeah.
And likewise with Doctor Who, it's the whole thing of being given something else.
No.
Writing a Doctor Who story, great. When I try to write my own stuff, it's that a complete blank canvas where you go, what am I writing? Or what is this? That's a kind of thing. And yeah, that's why I like improvisation, because you go on stage and you don't have time to sort of like get tied in knots about things.
You just do what feels right at the time, I guess. Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's right. That's amazing. Again, I'm learning so much more about you, Dan, as this goes on. It's a massive privilege. The next question now is this is from Connie again. They've asked now obviously you do have a cough. They've asked, is there a chance you could do the Sia laugh, or at least a version of it?
I don't know, was my microphone all been caned or
I think
that I've been working up to it over the course of like, oh, sweet brute, yes. And my upstairs neighbour will be very friendly.
Oh yeah, my poor neighbour's just constantly here. From the other side of the
sounds are dying.
Yeah, it's my job, I swear. That's great. Thank you so much. And here we go. Here's a comparison with your female counterpart in Darktide. So Yanfon has asked, so your delivery of the lines is completely different compared to the female version of the seer. Was that deliberately directed to you in the booth, or was it more of a case of you were, in your own little bubble and were just told to do whatever it was that worked?
Yeah, completely. It's a whole thing. You get the chance to find it for yourself, because I think, because I have done other voice jobs where you're trying to match things, or sort of like, unless you've got a good director, then that can be a real,
absolutely.
Sort of, whereas I think, is it Rachel who does Psycho Male Female B? Rachel. Just basically, it's a whole thing. Was I go into I go in and out of OMUK, and I see people going in. Oh, hello, Claire. Oh, it's Harry Myers, whatever. And it's a whole thing. All these voice actors that we know each other, because the voice world is, sort of not a huge one, and so you're probably aware of lots of people who sort of like do similar kind of jobs to you, and they're going, oh, that's nice. Oh, you've been doing the same lines, have you? So. Yeah, it's very much, you're allowed to, and it's great because the director not very good, and sort of like you're allowed to find your own way within it, and it's got to make sense on its own terms rather than you sort of trying to emulate somebody else.
Oh, absolutely agree. Yeah, like same for myself. Like Haruka, her name is, who does the female version of my.
Oh, Haruka Kuroda.
Yeah. She's my female counterpart, and again, like it's the same character but vastly different. Like the lines are the same, but I think it's. Like you said, testament with like the directors and the writing as well, and how much care they put into like making each character we've done a separate entity on their own in general. And it's amazing. Like I know you've worked on something else recently I can't talk about because I know we're both on it, but again it was a very quite a big, crazy kind of colourful character project, and there was a lot of room for like multiple layers to the characters, so you were kind of getting to know them more as you did them. You probably know what I'm hinting to, but I can't go any further than that.
No, of course not. No,
it's NDAs. We are sworn to secrecy.
Absolutely.
But again, it's that amazing point of like you said about getting to spend more than like an hour with the character, like because some voiceover jobs it's an hour done.
Oh, in and
never
out
again. Whereas these long-term things, the more you do it, you're like, I'm figuring out more and more and more about them, and by the end of it, you see it. There's this whole developed like almost person, so it's just fantastic. And because I record my lines for it at Molyneux, not OMUK, because they.
Oh, okay,
So I work with like well aware of OM and stuff. I worked at OM before, but it's just it was like the Molyneux block of people and the OM block of people. But we're all aware of each other and who's doing what.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, yeah.
So that's fantastic. Thank you.
No, it's funny. It's funny with Haruka Kuroda, because I first worked with her in 2011, and she actually is a fight director as well as an actor.
Yes, she is. Yes.
And so we did it was like a modernized version of The Wind in the Willows, and I was playing Mr. Toad. And so
Oh,
we had a
Dan, that's
big punch up at the
fantastic.
end.
Yeah. Oh,
A big punch up at the
great.
end, and it's like lots of mime, and she was very good at like, sort of. I
Yeah.
think, I think I killed someone with an invisible bowling ball, so it was like great. And so
See,
it's
that's
like, no,
that.
do it like that, yeah.
Yeah. Underarm.
Yes, yeah, it's great.
It's funny because I bumped into her just after
Mm,
coming out of a session
mm,
recently for the
mm,
the project, and I
yes.
walked out and I was like, 'cause it's the first time I've
Mm,
ever met her. I knew of her, I knew what she looked like. And I walked out and I went,
mm.
"Are you Haruka?" And she went, "Yes." And I went, "Oh, yeah."
Yes.
And then I explained
Yeah.
like I wasn't just some weird guy. I actually had a reason to harass her. But yeah, she's absolutely lovely, absolutely
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
So this is one. The laugh you did for the seer. Again, we're back to laugh. Not gonna make you do it again. Don't worry.
Mhm.
It's more about was that something that you were just like, you know what, crazy laugh, here we go, or was there more built up to it in the directive side, or was it just Dan Starkey doing Dan Starkey things in the booth? Would you say?
Yeah, well, I think lots of the time there is, a lot of the time it is you can discuss things endlessly,
Yeah,
or you can try stuff out. And then you
it's
can have
true.
guys and go, oh, that feels right. Oh, yeah, that's the kind of thing. And I think that's always the way that I work. And it's kind of like, yes, try something out. And if you fall flat on your face, fine. Then so like just try something different.
Yeah,
And I think especially with something like, because it is so visceral as well.
yeah,
That sort of like, and you have to, the thing is, in order to actually do the job, in order not to sort of like completely cane your voice permanently,
does
you've
happen.
got to, which does happen, and inevitably it does happen. Then you have to invest in it physically as
Yeah,
well. And I think probably after a whole day of after a whole session of like being the cycle of being that crazy person, then it does come out.
yeah,
That kind of effusion. So like
yeah,
yeah. It's you kind of building up to it. It's a trajectory. So
yeah.
yeah.
And like keeping on that track, Yanfon's also asked like obviously what was it like recording the voice lines, because obviously they released these video clips of us in the booth recording. And did you get to use many prop guns when you're running in place?
There
Because
is
obviously the psych is more of a
yeah
mind,
yes
more stuff like this. So
yes.
were you also having fun, or were you more of just an arm wavy actor in the booth for
Yeah,
Darktide?
I'm definitely an arm wavy actor.
Yeah,
So no, definitely having the gun, and so especially the bits where we were running around
yeah,
and we're going to be shooting people, and also having something with a bit of heft to it. It
yeah.
does make it easier, and it does make you use your voice in a different way. So yeah, it's very useful.
And I love
Yeah.
the head
Mm,
mics,
mm.
the ones they stuck on. I find
Yes.
them. I would
Yang.
I'd be so much happier using them
Mm.
like permanently now, because there's just so much
Yes.
more space to go.
Yeah.
Oh, rather
Yes.
than
You're like an anglerfish. You've got
yeah,
this little sort of like
yeah,
a yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
Jackie Comics from Brazil has asked you. I know we're going far today.
Wow. Yeah.
When it would come to doing your voice, like I know obviously you spoke about your influences and like when
Mm.
you audition, was there much change between the audition process and the actually starting? Because obviously we say it
Oh yeah.
develops. Was there
Yeah.
much changed apart from
Yeah, oh,
like the
definitely.
attitude? Because I know
Yeah,
it's about
I
the
think
biggest voice.
that
Yeah,
first session of trying stuff out, it's like going, okay, let's try that. That's a little bit of,
yeah, yeah,
and also because I'd given so many different options for different characters as well, so I read them for all the, quite a lot of the main sort of like characters too. So they had an idea about like my vocal range and having heard me for different things. They're going, oh, you can do a bit more. You can make it a bit more gravelly, can't you? Or
yeah,
you can do a bit more. That. So yeah, as opposed to this, as I say, the Jane Austen character whose eyebrows are constantly raised, slightly heightened. Oh dear. Oh, my beloved doesn't like this. Oh no,
yeah,
perhaps I will have to kill you. And then
yeah.
of course, when it's someone who the vicar's son who suddenly discovers he's got a nasty side,
I do
and we
love
start going
the.
this, and then all of a sudden the John Hurt takes over. And so yeah, it evolved. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love the description of Vicar's son though. It's such a fantastic term.
Yes.
Like it
Yeah.
never occurred to me, but now I'm like,
Yeah.
this makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic though. Again, I know I kind of keep like winding back down to. Oh, I've knocked my light over.
Oh,
Don't
watch
worry
out.
about it. We're okay. I keep going back to the idea that
Mm.
back to Darktide, but moving a bit more out of it to like your acting as like a whole. Like do you have this from again in Massachusetts? Do you have any like kind of rituals you go into, or should I say something you like to do before you begin acting for for a job? Like I guess do you have like a personal
Yeah.
personal ritual? Yeah, I
It's,
guess that's what you call it.
I mean, certainly when I'm going to do a play,
Yeah,
I've got a really quite a I've got a series of voice exercises that I do,
yeah.
which takes me about, if I do it fully, then it takes me about half an hour.
Oh wow.
I'm always very conscious of stuff like, and it's simply, it's not nothing mystical,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's all stuff that I learned at drama school, and
yeah.
we were quite thoroughly drilled And so there's a series of things like, so like you wake up your breathing, you wake up your powerhouse muscles to project, you wake up your pitch, you pick up articulation, you do all those things, and then bits of tricky bits of words that you always stumble on. You make sure you rehearse those. So and it's also that sort of thing. And I remember sort of because there's a couple of jobs which I've done, where I did 9 months on the road on tour doing the 39 Steps, which is a big high octane comedy thing where you're playing multiple characters, and I didn't take a show off on that. And I was quite proud of myself for not having to take a show off and not actually sort of hurting my voice. And one of the guys in that was going, for me, it's a way of, because increasingly, the thing is, I see lots of actors. So like, the older you get, so like the stage fright never goes away. There's like the nerves never go away, and sometimes it gets worse.
Yeah.
And certainly the last show that I did, because we were doing it through one of the waves of the pandemic, the Omicron wave, it was just kind of like, it was incredibly stressful. That's like, is someone else going to go off? If I go out, am I going to catch the lurgy?
Yeah.
So doing a half an hour warm up, physical stuff as well to make sure you don't do yourself a mischief on stage.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As well as a vocal one. It sort of helps you to control the nerves and makes them useful.
Yeah.
And also, if you're physically shattered, if you're knackered, it summons them up as well. Because it's all that stuff. It just simply, it's a physiological process. If you breathe in a certain way and then you control it, that will enable you to do things that you wouldn't do otherwise. And I think just recently, one of my sort of like my wider circle of friends, who's a wonderful performer called Sarah Louise Young, does this whole show called An Evening Without Kate Bush, where she basically sings. She is Kate Bush and she sings for a whole evening.
Amazing.
She was posting stuff online about that, about not just warming up your voice, but also remembering to warm down your voice as well.
Right.
Because when you've come off stage, then you're probably taking that, and then if you don't sort of warm down to it and sort of like that whole thing of, then you can lose your voice there as well.
Yeah.
And it's a couple of times when I've been up at the Edinburgh Festival, because I haven't done a full Edinburgh for a long time, but sort of like the last couple of other times I've done it before the pandemic, I would jump into a couple of improv shows that my friends are doing, and but I would always do it deliberately about just after halfway through the run, because you're up there for the whole month of Edinburgh, through sort of the 3rd until the 28th of August, and then about sort of 2/3, 3/4 of the way through, thought I'll show that, because that's when people are really needing a little boost in the arm.
Yeah.
And so just because they're flagging, the end is in sight, but also you're absolutely physically shattered. And so having a bit of new energy, me coming in, being fresh and going, hey. Yeah. And there was my mate's show, my mate Gary's show, who does and he does this improvised MCU kind of show, the MCU thing. And I was meant to do one show with him. It's like for my little stay, and I ended up doing about 5, because all the people he had booked a guest in, all of them had lost their voice.
Right.
So, and it's that thing of just, I'm very, very conscious of it, about trying to keep the instrument okay.
No, I completely agree, because that's something I'm still trying to figure out myself. I do warm-ups, but I usually, if it's a loud roll, I will start to feel the
and to be honest, there is no way around.
No, it's
you have to. There are certain things you can do to mitigate it, but ultimately, if you're being shouted, that kind of. If it's barks, as they call it.
Yeah, barks, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you so much, Dan. That's fantastic. This next one is Dan. What does Dan Starkey's perfect day look like?
Such a perfect day. Drink sangria in the park. And destroy a space freighter too.
We'll
it's such
go
fun.
home.
Yes. A perfect day.
If there was one for Dan Starkey, what would it look like within?
Oh gosh, I think I know. I think
which perfect day for Dan.
Genuinely, so like I love my job and I love being able to do it as well. So lots of the time it's kind of it's nice. Yeah. It's nice when you sort of, it's great to be working. Because,
I agree.
Thank God for that, being self-employed. But no, actually, sometimes when I was like, most recently, I've got a group of old mates from school and we go hiking, and that's usually a sort of thing where you've got conviviality, you've got some old friends going out, seeing the glorious countryside, and sort of like knackering yourself out.
Where do you enjoy going, like hiking?
We've been to like North Wales and sort of like
because
I'm from this like the South Wales border, so all the kind of Brecon Beacons and Offers Dyke and sort of like Salmons Yat and like that kind of area.
Offers Dyke, amazing.
Yes, yeah. So it's kind of thing, and then go to the evening and then to like have a blowout with us, or like a nice big meal and several drinks. That's kind of that's one paradigm.
Yeah.
That's one, and you actually feel you've earned it by then. But
absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's all conviviality, which is being with mates. It's one thing which so for my birthday I try and get a good good group of mates together, and we just sort of enjoy each other's company. So it's
I
kind of
think that's you can't ask for much
yeah,
more than that, though,
yeah.
can you? No, I completely agree with that, Dan. That's a really
And
good
if I'd
point.
be on stage showing off in front of people and having lots of applause, that's delightful too. So it's kind of
It
yeah,
is the perfect day.
yes. It's,
uh,
all, it's a combination. It's a combination. So, like, in some ways, I'm a massive introvert. In other
I
ways, I'm a huge show off.
I
So it's
completely
balancing those
agree.
two halves of my personality. So
Yeah,
it's, yeah,
I'm exactly the same. Like I'm here going, "Hi everyone, look at me doing this,"
yeah,
and I'm like, "Just
yeah.
leave me to myself,
Leave me
please,
alone.
please."
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, I'm just seeing what more questions I've got
Mm,
for you. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. So speaking of prototyping things, in the booth with the directors and trying stuff
mm.
out, does Dan remember any massively unused elements or versions of the Seer that didn't pan out?
I think, as I say, it
But
was
like
a
you said,
gentler. I think it was
it's
a
just
slightly gentler
yeah,
take on the character
yeah,
and a slightly more ethereal kind of thing. And
yeah,
yes, just a little bit, which I think just technically within the context of the game, it
yeah.
probably wouldn't carry over the kind of over the soundscape that you've got an entire design soundscape that
Yes,
you've got to pitch
absolutely.
up over at all. You know, because we get kind of, at least the earphones, they've got kind of like a sort of a vague suggestion of something, like if there's a battle thing, then the shooty shooty bang bang going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I
you've got something
remember
to
that.
pitch
Yeah.
up over, or likewise some grimy you know sort of generic Blade Runner esque
Yeah.
kind of like soundscape going on. You know, when you're sort of like going around the thing. So you've got that, but yeah. So I think it's more the kind of like the
Yeah.
slightly more gentle tones
It's
and that sort of thing.
tweaks,
That
isn't it? It's more
yeah,
tweaks than a complete
yeah,
character
yeah,
altogether. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
But
Um,
again, with all these, you're finding it in the moment, and so you plan, as I said before, you plan as much as you can, and then you try stuff out. You throw it out the
yeah.
window and try stuff. And so, in terms of trying to remember what I did then, it's a little, it was a little couple of years ago now. So it's
Yeah,
kind of a
I know what you mean. Like sometimes you go,
yeah,
wait, did I do that?
yes,
That happened, didn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's fantastic. Let's see what more questions we have for you, Dan. We do end on a certain speciality question. By speciality, I mean it completely changes based on. But we'll get to that. We're not quite there yet, but we'll.
Okay,
Yeah.
righty ho.
Oh, here's another one. What's your favorite Doctor Who villain?
Oh gosh,
Here we
obviously the
go.
Sontarans are
Yeah.
marvelous and beautiful, and they revere war above all things. No, I do love the Sontarans. But also, you know, you can't beat a good Dalek.
No.
Something very satisfying about the Daleks. You know,
Yeah.
so their design is a classic for Justified, and they've chunked them up for this like the most recent series as well. And it's kind of
No,
yeah, that they're
absolutely,
good.
yeah. You got the
Yes.
what was the Skittles Daleks they called in Matt Smith's series. The
Yes.
the
Oh yeah,
red,
yeah.
orange, and
Yes.
like the blue ones as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
I think one of
But
my
with the Daleks, you've got that sort of chunky sort of like thing, and then you've got the horrible sort of blobby thing inside. So they've got both
yeah
things covered.
yeah
A kind of
yeah.
Lovecraft, horrible Lovecraft. Actually, we haven't seen the modern series, the Rutans on screen.
The
And I think the
Rutans.
Rutans could be the eternal enemies of the Sontarans, because
Ooh.
actually, gaming wise, there's a computer game that was released on the BBC website called the Gunpowder Plot, which is kind of like an adventure game, sort of role playing game, and they had sort of they had Rutans in that. And they were very nicely sort of designed, so like they're kind of like a jellyfish, like
Right.
an amoeba, and also there's something quite Lovecraftian about them, you know. So like this kind of shapeless, horrible, shape shifting thing,
Well,
which I think you could realize now very very well.
no,
You know,
absolutely, yeah. And
quite
speaking of,
quite what certification you would give it. You know,
I know, yeah,
it's
like
obviously it was a family friendly show, but yeah,
6:45 on the BBC.
yes,
Okay, yeah, it's fine.
yeah.
Don't worry about it. Speaking of Lovecraft, are you yourself into like obviously, being like a writer of stuff and writer of stuff, writer of writer of
It's true.
stuff,
No stuff and
writer of
stuff and
stuff,
content. Yes,
writer of
as Iggy Pop sang, "Life is short and full of stuff."
yeah, full
Yeah,
of stuff. Yeah.
yes,
I
yeah,
apologize, Dan. But
yeah.
would you say like Lovecraft? You quite a fan of Lovecraft? Are you into his
I mean,
works?
definitely I've been influenced by it. I mean, recently as well. I don't know if you've heard the on BBC Sounds the Lovecraft investigations.
Yes, I have actually.
Just
Yeah.
fantastic, just absolutely. Because actually, case in point, one of the people who originally taught me improvisation was a group called the Spontaneity Shop, and Jana Carpenter, who plays Kennedy Fisher in that, she was one of the people who taught me.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, it's weird how these things come around. And Julian Simpson actually directed a small part, some pickups for A Good Man Goes to War. So
It's all connected,
it's all
isn't it? It
connected.
really
Yes,
is.
yeah.
Oh,
So, but I've really enjoyed those series, and it's such a smart, wonderful way of sort of like really bringing Lovecraft. Not that he needs bringing up to date, because I
no,
love
of
the sort of
course.
period stuff of it as well. But just a really intelligent take about how you would do that. So yeah.
Are you familiar with the works of M.R. James as well?
Oh, and I
Yeah,
love R. James.
yeah,
Too.
M.R. James. Like he's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
read some of his stories. Like I don't understand. Like again, it amazes me how at the time they create these horrendously horrific like visions in my mind. Like I can't remember which.
Yeah.
I had a compilation of his stories, and there was
Yeah.
this description of like they're in a church and there was like a spire, and it's described as like a sinister metallic laugh coming from
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
It was always stuck with me. Like no image of what it was, but just the
Yes.
idea of this metallic laugh. Like it's just
Yeah.
fantastic
It's
writing.
the one which got me was the Lost Hearts, the sort of
Oh,
children who was like,
I love that. Yes,
yeah,
fantastic. Yeah,
yeah. But it's all that corner of the eye stuff. It's all about
yeah,
atmosphere. I wouldn't say I'm a massive horror fan, but it's
yeah,
like I do like ghost stories and things like something like Ring, where most
yeah.
of it is kind of like the Japanese film Ringu, where most of it is it's kind of most of it is just atmosphere. It's
Yeah.
absolutely terrifying, but nothing really is happening, and just this sense of mounting horror. I think that's I really like that kind of thing, and James is obviously the founding father of that. in
No,
some way.
yeah, I completely agree. And like back to like mentioning horror, like massively being into it, but like usually with horror films, the fear goes away when you fully reveal when the monster
Yes.
comes out of the shadows. Like
The
you
rubber
said,
monster comes out
yeah.
with Rice Krispies on the face. Yeah.
It's horrifying. Yeah, it's
Yes.
yeah. That is
Mm.
like a great point, and I think like you said, Lovecraft and M.R. James, like they really mastered that kind of. And what's the other one they did as well? The Ash Tree as well. That's another one that
Oh
stands out
yes.
to me.
Little things inside it.
And
Yes.
the
Yeah.
tractate Midoth as well. Yeah. I'm just going to keep listing M.R. James stories
Yes.
to you now. And well, since it is nearly time for me to release you from this living hell, Dan, and it also is related. So this is the question we always ask at the end of interviews, and it's funny you should mention ghost stories because what we ask is because we're quite I personally am massively into the supernatural and the paranormal, and we ask our guests if they've got a story personally they'd like to share of a ghost story or a story of the unexplained that's happened to them. Sorry, do you have any yourself, Dan?
Oh gosh.
That you're
Well, I
willing to
think
share, of course.
no. Well, for goodness' sake, I mean, it's kind of it is that sort of thing that I basically I am a rationalist,
Yeah,
but equally you'd be very sort of like I think it's humans are not entirely rational beings. And so
absolutely
I
not.
think it's definitely the power of suggestion is very very strong. So yeah, any actual experiences I've had,
Yeah.
couldn't quite say. But so I grew up in a house in the countryside. So like when I was tiny, I lived in a street in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Then so like I grew up in the countryside on the side of a hill, really in the middle of nowhere.
It's amazing.
And so quite a lot of the time, we have had rats in the roof or squirrels or rats. And so it's
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
A lot of that when I was growing up, and also we only found out when I was, we've been there for about a good 20 years that the electrics really hadn't been done very well. So kind of, we could have burnt to death at any sort of way. But a lot of the time, when sort of, the lights would go on and off.
Yeah.
All the time. So I'm quite used to that sort of feeling of.
You're ready for it constantly.
The natural world, a log fire is a very sort of grounding, nice thing.
Yeah.
It's like the world outside tapping on the window. It's always yes, the cold night is always there. But it's like, but that doesn't quite answer your question. No, the one time when I think it was when I lived, oh god, just over 10 years ago. I lived in East Dulwich, and I remember walking back. It was quite a walk from the train station back to the flat that I was in, and I remember walking down the street, and I don't think I was too pixelated, but I just remember it might have been during the summer. Yeah, so I think I was just wearing a short sleeved shirt.
Yeah.
And walking just down to like the top of Lordship Lane, and then feeling this pinch on my arm, this little pinch on my arm, and then it's like looking around, it's like there was no one there. And again, it could be a
strange.
but there was that slight of that's what sticks in the mind. That's slightly kind of more like a presence.
No, a presence is more enough. It hasn't got to be you seeing, coming towards you.
No.
But I agree with that. The presence is enough.
Yeah. And also there's lots of stories about sort of theatres being haunted and that sort of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
There was one time, and I think also when I was on that tour with the 39 Steps, we were at the Durham Gala Theatre, and some of the guys had been on a day trip to the countryside and been to some country house, and said, "Oh, it's quite spooky there." And so when they came back, they were also winding themselves up about it. And then it's like there was just one time on stage where I thought I heard a whisper in the ear.
Yeah.
Just when I was on stage. And again, the thing is, you're in a very heightened state
Yeah.
on stage as well. And also, acoustics in old buildings are very specific. But
Very true.
it's that kind of thing where all of a sudden, oh, okay, that's weird.
No,
It's like, yeah, so you had these little shades of things.
I've had the exact same thing happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, the odd.
Yeah.
Did I just hear something? No. That's fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dan.
No, that's what I can think of offhand.
No, it's perfect. And,
Yeah.
and we are.
Yeah.
It's now 7:15. So thank you so much, Dan. Honestly,
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experiences and answering people's questions. It's really quite kind. And is there anything you'd like to? I'm going to say promote, not shill. Promote.
Promote. Oh
anything,
gosh.
Dan?
Well, if you're not aware of it, then it's like I do an awful lot of work with the Doctor Who audio sort of people at Big Finish, and there's a whole cornucopia of stuff that sort of. I've been recording lots of things recently. I've got no idea when they'll all be released, but have a look on the Big Finish website.
Keep your eye on Big Finish website and for Dan Starkey.
Yeah, there's definitely something that's been. Oh, there's an audio book that I've sort of like which is me doing the 12th Doctor doing Peter Capaldi, along with 2 other readers.
That's
coming out next
fantastic.
month. Yes, which you can hear called the Chaos Cascade, and also the Paternoster Gang, who I was on screen. We have one entire season's worth of adventures, and we're one box set into so like the second season already. So if you haven't heard those. You can pick all those up, and that might even be bundles on discount. So have a look at the Big Finish website.
I'm impressed with the Peter Capaldi impression as well, Dan.
Thanks.
Very good. But anyway, Dan, thank you so much.
James, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you again for giving me your time as well. I really,
My
really
beloved
appreciate
thinks it's been nice as well, haven't you, beloved?
Thank you, freak. Dan, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful Friday, and I will. I'll put you a message just to say thank you again. Thank you, Dan. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a lovely man. What a lovely, lovely man. A lovely, lovely man. So nice.